proudest place I could be is definitely in the turret of the LAV 6. Especially when I'm operating that Bushmaster, you just feel absolutely unstoppable. But it's also our home. That's our place of rest too. Like when you're in the back, just chilling with the boys, you know, just having a good old conversation. Half the time we'll just put the ramp down and there's nothing to do. You're just chilling out with the boys, having a good time. When I'm sitting in my turret and we're out bombing through the country there, you almost feel unstoppable. It's an incredible steel beast that, you know, not only do we fight out of it, but we live out of it, we sleep out of it, we eat out of it. When you're in it, you feel like you can almost like conquer nature.
Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Matt. Thanks for joining me. CANSEC 2025. It's an interesting, I guess, convention of which showcases and unveils all the new fancy tech that could or could not be a part of the Canadian Armed Forces around the world. But today, we're looking specifically at the LAV 6 Mark II, Canada's latest 8x8 armoured powerhouse, freshly unveiled at CANSEC 2025 Defence Expo in Ottawa. Now, this is a new light armoured vehicle that isn't just an upgrade in its name. It's supposed to be the most advanced LAV platform in Canada that it has fielded to date. And you got a picture that the Army's proven LAV 6, which is an incredible bit of kit, which I have done videos on in the past, is being dialed up in firepower and its tech. The Mark II is integrating a lot of new technology with a 30mm automatic cannon, a dual-launch anti-tank missile system, and even loitering munitions such as drones, ready to scout and strike from above. In plain terms, this means a huge leap in battlefield punch and versatility for the Canadian Armed Forces. It's hard to say whether or not they're actually going to come into fruition, something, as many of you know, I cannot speak to in terms of contract within the Canadian Armed Forces and policy that I must follow, but it's always nice to understand what could be coming. And why is there a buzz about this? Well, for starters, unveiling the Mark II signals a bit of a major push to modernise Canada's armoured fleet, particularly armoured infantry or mechanised infantry, and keep pace with some of the global trends. The Army's older LAV 3 vehicles, with their smaller 25mm guns, are officially yesterday's news, and the Mark II is supposed to be all about tomorrow. It builds on that battle-tested lineage, but adds that next-generation muscle with a little bit of brains as well. Of course, there's always going to be improved protection, beefier firepower with that 30mm, but the biggest change, in my opinion, is the new battle management tech, all rolled into that familiar 8-wheeled package. Technology inside of these vehicles is just as prominent as it is on the outside, looking at all the weapon systems that are placed on there. It all has to work conducively with one another, which is something that I found with CV90 works flawlessly. From cruising at highway speeds to rolling over rough terrain, the vehicle is supposed to be designed to be even smarter and meaner than the predecessors, and in today's video we're going to break down a little bit as to why it's so special. Let's start off with the bones and the build of the Mark II. Now, at a first glance, the LAV 6 Mark II might seem like just another LAV 6, but General Dynamics Land Systems Canada made sure it isn't the case of the same shell, different paint. This vehicle is a result of extensive feedback from frontline users, paired with lessons learned from modern combat environments. The most immediate change? The redesigned modular turret. Yes, modular. You know I love saying that word. An integrating of modern firepower systems, but we'll get to the weapons in a second. Structurally, though, the Mark II maintains the classic 8x8 wheel configuration that the LAV family is known for, offering very high off-road mobility and easy strategic transport. But the chassis has been somewhat subtly reworked to accommodate more electrical power interfaces, thermal management systems, and future growth for electronic systems that can integrate all the new tech that they're putting in there. Think of it as the LAV 6's smarter, bulked-up sibling. Internally, the Mark II has been refined specifically for better crew ergonomics. Yes, we all want our crew to feel comfy, with improved control interfaces, advanced shock mitigating seating, and intuitive digital displays. Even the hull layout has been rebalanced to better distribute weight and lower the vehicle's profile, improving both stability and survivability. Now, unfortunately, it's really hard to get videos and pictures of this particular platform, which is why you're seeing a lot of used LAV 6 footage in here, but the hull itself does seem to be upgraded with modular armor kits compatible with scalable protection packages, including reactive and passive armor enhancements. It also includes improved IED protection along the belly and wheel wells, something Canadian crews specifically requested after years of operations in Afghanistan. All of this makes the LAV-6 Mark II less of a simple upgrade but more of a generational leap forward. It's clear that General Dynamics Canada wasn't really looking to keep up with peers like the Boxer or the Striker. They're aiming to lead the 8x8 pack, and in all honesty I would say it's a fairly good contender for doing so. Let's specifically zero in though on that 30mm gun. This is a beefy upgrade with a dual feed automatic cannon and a serious step up from the 25mm Bushmaster, which is very well renowned, and I know crews that have utilised this weapon system a lot and they absolutely love it on the older LAV variants, but the cannon does bring a greater punch, longer reach, and the ability to engage a wider range of targets, including lightly armoured vehicles and fortified positions. I've used 30mm with Warrior, incredible platform, but so aged and dated. With a dual feed setup like this, you can obviously alternate between different types of ammunition going into that gun, something very, very useful for crews to be able to, automate between targets, which of course you don't be wasting fin rounds or saber rounds on targets that require HE or various other configurations that exist out there. But the turret's main gun is only the beginning. The Mark II also features an integrated anti-tank missile launcher, a twin-tube system capable of carrying most modern ATGMs like the FGM-148 Javelin or similar systems, depending on the integration, which I don't believe has actually been selected yet, but the opportunity exists. This means the Mark II isn't just supporting the infantry potentially anymore, it could directly challenge enemy armour at extended ranges, although, as many of you know, I would wholeheartedly disagree with doing so. It's just not what they're designed for. Then there's the most imperative portion of modern armour today, loitering munition capabilities, which is frankly a wild but very smart addition in my opinion. Housed within the turret or the vehicle stowage, these small drones can be launched to scout ahead, feedback with live video, and even deliver explosive payloads to distant or hidden targets. Many of you have asked about whether or not this is going to be the future of modern armoured warfare, and it's safe to say it will be. Of course, we've all seen the footage of the attack of the Russian airfields with those bombers. I will potentially be doing a video on that in the future, but of course I have to be careful about talking about things like that with my current Armed Forces career. But it's like giving this vehicle its own personal UAV squadron, and within itself can do a lot of reconnoitering or potentially engagement of lots of different types of targets. The turret is also remotely operated and stabilized with full 360-degree traverse and elevation capabilities through sights all the way around the turret, allowing for accurate fire on the move and the ability to trace targets without actually looking through the main sights. Add in the automatic target tracking system, the laser rangefinder, and night and day optics, and you've got a very good gun platform and a digital hunter-killer system that is obviously now on wheels instead of just tracks. All of these upgrades signal a shift in how LAVs are expected to fight. This isn't just a ride to battle anymore, it is potentially the battle. And with this level of lethality, the Mark II is taking a bit of a place in a frontline combat asset, not just a support vehicle or battle bus, getting troops to the front, pushing away, or kind of egressing out to allow the infantry what they do want to do the best, which is fight and close and engage with the enemy. Now, I'm not saying LAV-6s or LAV-3s are not already doing that, but with this extra firepower, they have a lot more punch to be able to potentially support alongside Leopard 2s and the rest of the armoured battle group. Now, as many of you know, you can't just throw more weapons onto a vehicle and call it next gen and hope that it all works well together. What makes the Mark II a lot more dangerous is how smart it's becoming. At the heart of this intelligence lies its upgraded fire control and target acquisition suite. The LAV-6 Mark II integrates a fully digital battle management system fused with stabilized optics, thermal cameras, and automated tracking sensors working autonomously with one another. In simple terms, the gunner no longer looks just through the optics, they're now sitting behind a digital console that feeds them real-time enemy positions, trajectory solutions, and shared targeting data across the network or potentially their troop of vehicles that are working alongside them. This shared information allows for turret engagements a lot faster, and of course linking to these loitering munitions or drones. The turret's targeting system is also gyro-stabilized, meaning it remains accurate even while the vehicle is on the move, which is fairly common of most platforms today. The commander and gunner can work simultaneously with independent views, a hunter-killer setup that allows one to search for threats while the other engages. Targets are also prioritized, tracked, and neutralized by faster than any other previous LAV configuration. But it's not just about those killing targets. The Mark II is built for networked warfare. It can share intel, positioning, and targeting data with other vehicles and other companies or battalions or units around the battle space. This digital fusion allows for an entire squadron of LAVs to act as a coordinated swarm, all seeing and reactive to threats in unison, and of course with them drones, it's really harnessing a huge amount of capability for the battlefield. Internally, the vehicle also upgrades with its wiring harnesses and power management systems for EM shielding to handle all this tech. And of course, this leaves a lot of architecture and room for future software upgrades, particularly artificial intelligence tools or integrated drone control platforms that can basically be autonomous drones, which not quite there yet, but we're certainly getting near to the NATO standard for digital interoperability. Now, powering this beautiful beast is the Caterpillar C9 turbo diesel engine, pushing around 450 horsepower, paired with an upgraded 7-speed automatic transmission. The Mark II maintains the tried and tested suspension system of the original LAV6, which includes independent hydromatic struts on all 8 wheels. And that all translates into smoother rides, better target acquisition and engagement, improved cross-country handling for the crew, which of course is very nice to have, and particularly infanteers in the back, and the ability to keep up with tracked formations, all while offering less maintenance hassle. The Mark II boasts a top speed of roughly 100 km/h on paved roads and maintains a strong off-road performance of a range of around 600 km. Its central tyre inflation system allows it to adjust to different terrain types on the fly, meaning it can go from highway to muddy fields without a hiccup. And manoeuvrability is key in today's dispersed battlefield. The vehicle's tight turning radius, aided by rear steering assist, gives it excellent agility in particularly urban environments and narrow roadways, exactly where modern conflicts tends to unfold. We always tend to see the vehicles charging across the battlefields of Ukraine, but the reality is it's not always unfolding within the realm of fields and trenches. There is urban environments as well. Of course, we're just seeing a lot more of drone conflicts in the fielded areas because that's primarily where trenches are set up and harder for armoured battle groups to get through. What's more, this platform is designed with strategic mobility in mind. It can be deployed via C-130 Hercules or larger transport aircraft and fits within NATO's rapid response framework, and that's a huge bonus for Canadian operators abroad, especially in Latvia or future UN missions. So speaking of missions, where does the LAV6 Mark II fit into the Canadian Army's toolbox? Well, this vehicle is designed to be a multi-role battlefield platform, equally at home, conducting reconnaissance, transporting infantry, or serving as mobile fire support assets. The Mark II, though, blurs the traditional lines between armoured personnel carrier, IFV, and somewhat of a light tank, bringing serious firepower and survivability to missions that previously required heavier support, like the Leopard 2s. For the Canadian Army, this means added versatility. The Mark II is perfectly suited to lead operations in Eastern Europe under Operation Reassurance, particularly in Latvia when Canadian troops serve as part of NATO's enhanced forward presence. Its range, mobility, and network systems are ideal for a dispersed multinational environment. In peacekeeping scenarios, it offers modernized deterrence capable of showing force without escalating in conflict. It's nothing worse than having a gigantic tracked armoured fighting vehicle, whereas having a wheeled vehicle in some standing looks a little less domineering. In domestic emergencies, the Mark II could obviously, of course, support operations like flood response, northern patrols, or strategic infrastructural defense depending on the mission need. With that 600-kilometer range and wheels, it can hit the highway and off it goes. Like any modular platform, it has growth potential, command variants, logistic modules, electronic warfare versions, and of course specific drone variants all can be based off this modular 8x8 chassis. That makes it more than just a single tool. It's more of a whole toolbox waiting to be built out in specific battle groups, or I guess brigade groups, or anything that the Canadian Army wishes to attach it to or utilize it for. Most importantly, the Mark II represents self-reliant Canadian manufacturing built by General Dynamics in London, Ontario. That means jobs at home, easier logistics, and direct control over maintenance and upgrades. Hint, hint, General Dynamics, if you're watching this, and my Canadian compadres, if you are building this in the future or doing some testing, there's a certain Canadian Army reservist / YouTuber who would love to help promote your product and take a look, but, you know, there's always a shameless plug in there. So if you're wondering what's the role of the LAV6 Mark II and where does it play in the sandbox, well, the answer is kind of almost anything, and it's likely going to be Canada's frontline workhorse for the next 2 decades if it comes into fruition. But let's wrap this up with a little bit of a look towards the future and what this platform really means. With unveiling this at CANSEC 2025, General Dynamics Land Systems have showed that the future of armoured mobility isn't just about keeping up, it's actually trying to set the pace. They're trying to get ahead of some of the prominent features of the vehicles that are already out there, like the Boxer, and I do love the LAV series. And the Mark II, I would safely say, is going to be probably the most advanced vehicle of its class that Canada has ever fielded, and marks to be a bit of a turning point of how the Canadian Army will fight and win on future battlefields. From Latvia to wherever Canada's international commitments take us next, the Mark II gives soldiers a fighting chance with the tools that are fast, smart, and lethal. Its turrets, sensors, network systems, and its armoured designs means that the CAF can match or exceed some of the peer platforms within NATO, while keeping with the industrial base and domestic future ready. What's especially exciting though is the scalability. As threats evolve, the LAV Mark II can adapt, whether it means plugging new drone capabilities, defensive electronics, or AI-assisted targeting modules with all that infrastructure and IT within it. Truly though, I have nothing to complain about the LAV 6 series of vehicles, and why would I? I mean, in all honesty, it's a very formidable infantry fighting vehicle within our armed forces here in Canada. I have had so much good feedback from the LAV 3, LAV 6s, all of the LAV platforms in all honesty, even from Americans that are working in a very similar configuration. They just love these vehicles. And yes, of course, there's always room for improvement, but it looks like this one has taken full utilization of the different opportunities that the vehicle could possess, such as that bigger platform of weapon systems with the 30mm, the IT, and all that good stuff. Really, really exciting stuff. And being that this is Canada's newest armoured beast, packed with all these cool little features, we are probably going to have a little bit of a time before we see it come into fruition, but I'll let you be the judge of that. It is just something that, of course, when it comes to new equipment, takes time to come to be. And if you did enjoy today's video, folks, and got a little bit of a insight as to what this vehicle could be, then let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are about it. It's always interesting reading the comments as to what you feel about the platforms and vehicles I talk about, or weapons of any kind. And if you did enjoy, make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. Click the bell by the icon there so you can be notified of any upcoming videos in the future. And I really, really appreciate everyone who's been supporting my channel financially via Patreon and PayPal. It really means a lot to me. It keeps me going. I am just working on my own. There's no one else here. It's just me and old Matt working to keep this channel afloat and keeping it running. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.